See.
And it says we're going live. It says we're live right now.
Are we live?
I think that's best.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Feels like a risk.
Let's see here. I'm gonna pop over.
Social distance myself from this.
Is there any way we can move these three thumbnails 6 feet apart? Or
Sadly, no.
That's not how the disease is transmitted, Greg. You're
I've gotten viruses on my computer before.
Well, you need to stop putting your wiener in it.
Well, what are those slots for?
Those are for inserting coins for microtransactions. Yes.
Coins or credit cards?
Nope.
Just
cash
coins
only. Okay. This is a cash only operation.
I have a couple of Sega World tokens. Would those work?
They will. They accept American currency and Sega World tokens.
And that's it.
Yep.
Weirdly specific.
Most PCs these days, desktops, mind you, not laptops, but most PCs these days also function as Coinstar machines.
What about Macs?
No. Coming
yet another thing the Mac can't do.
Yeah, exactly. Expect that in about 5 years for the Mac.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So it will spit out a gift card for you with no fees. So no service fees.
But only if you get that in Amazon credit.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you can get all sorts of
all sorts of things from a Coinstar machine.
You get iTunes credit.
Done that a bunch of times.
You can get Olive Garden probably.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you've seen Sonic the Hedgehog, the live action film.
It's out on digital now.
It is out on digital. So no excuses. When you're there, your family, I got a DoorDash bringing me some Olive Garden tonight.
Do you really?
I feel bad for the dude.
Do you really?
The dude's going to have to keep driving back and forth to get me breadsticks and salad.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for him, but you know.
Well, now he's family.
He lives here now.
As long as he stays outside the door, I'll throw a breadstick out to him. That's the tip.
Okay.
There you go. Your family.
Yeah, we're here, your family.
CJ, I do not have DoorDash bringing me Olive Garden.
Have you been using DoorDash? Have you?
Extensively, absolutely.
I don't trust that at all.
I've been doing like once a week.
What don't you trust about that?
We do Friday night.
I'm not down with in this whole situation we're in. I'm not down with other people handling my food.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just handling the bag.
Yeah. Are you talking?
Somebody made the food, CJ.
I know, but they're not
just magically appear when you order it.
But it's food.
I mean, they're taking precautions.
Yeah. Have you heard any reports of people getting coronavirus?
Actually,
from food.
I have not, but I've heard a couple of disturbing reports of people, not being all that clean.
No.
While handling
that's
food.
A definite.
I've been getting for lunch. That's what I'll do for lunch typically.
Yeah.
But because I'm working.
You don't want to make a sandwich?
No.
That's 4 minutes you're never going to get back.
Yeah.
That's 4 minutes where you're not earning.
Yeah. Why make
closers?
Why make some bland
just hook up like an aerosol cheese thing, like a like one of the hamster water
wiener sandwich.
Never mind, I want to order out now. Aerosol cheese.
Why should I should I make some bland deli sliced meat sandwich when I could be having some Azel's chicken?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The frying process melts out the
that's what I thought.
viral load.
I gotta say, I'm saving a lot of money.
Yeah,
these last 2 months.
Me too.
Man. I signed up for DoorDash Gold
Premium.
Whatever
man, you're serious about it.
Well, absolutely, because you don't have to pay delivery fees for that.
That's true. Yeah.
So and you get the first month free. And
you've already been told that this isn't going to last longer than a month.
Exactly. So well, I mean, Easter's what?
You guys are going to be back at work next week.
Next Sunday's Easter, so
right.
I think is next Sunday Easter.
Yes, it is.
America's open for business on Monday.
I only know this because that's when the stupid egg event ends.
Yes,
Parent of the year.
Yep.
Should we start?
We haven't.
We haven't been.
We haven't been.
I mean, this is been gold, CJ.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to edit the intro in front of this.
Yeah. Well, this is the pre-show.
I'm gonna do that.
This is the
pre-show.
You know what
this is for $10 patrons
and
the YouTube audience.
Yeah. This is like the orchestra practicing.
We're warming
the
up.
Big symphony. Yeah.
Warming up.
Yeah.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens! It's episode 700 of the Player One podcast.
Oh my gosh!
I understood
Tuesday,
that reference.
I would have
April
worn
7th, 2020. I am your host, Chris Johnston, and with me once again for the 700th time from Canada, I'll give or take a few, I guess.
I mean, he
Mr.
was
Craig
not on the
Stewart.
show for a
I was
while.
gonna say, you remember I left the show once.
There was
You
a
did.
good
You
chunk
did.
of
Right
time
around
when he was-
episode 100,
Right around episode 100.
Greg
is.
left the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm
Got
back.
too big for his britches.
Mhm.
Look at that
right.
sipping out of the official Player One podcast coffee mug.
Wow.
Oh, Generation Say it's
And
the Generation
Generation
16 one.
Generation
So we don't
16.
get any money off of that.
I do. Made me a cool 10 cents.
You're like a
and
band showing up
Which
at
is-
the concert wearing their own merchandise.
10 cents, which
Yeah.
is like 10% of what I earn on YouTube every month. So buckle up.
Money,
Snap.
money, money, money.
And joining me from the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi.
Yeah.
Yup. How's it going?
Ready to go back to work
Which
next week, right?
episode was your first one there,
Who, me?
Philip? Yes.
I believe
Um,
episode 9.
Yeah, it was before we got to 10. I know
I
that.
We
think it
had
was-
you
I
as a
think-
special guest.
I
I
don't
think
know that you were a
9.
regular.
No, I wasn't. I
No.
don't even know if I was on episode 10.
I don't think you were.
I was.
I think your first episode, you did one episode and then you were
Yeah.
back a few later, but you were sporadic for a while and then you were.
Yeah.
It
And then we
was
called you a guest host for about 3 years.
Yeah, well, exactly. I always
Darn right.
likened that to Jonathan Harris
Mm,
on Lost in Space.
Ah,
He portrayed Dr. Smith, as you may
Yes.
recall,
yes.
and throughout the duration of that run, he was credited as like special guest or something like
but
that.
that had
Yeah.
more to do with him not wanting to be listed as part of the main cast because because his name was
No.
noticeable in the credits, wasn't it?
Well,
was
no,
Isn't that
like
why
that.
people do that?
well, no, it was he originally. There's a little Lost in Space trivia for you on our 700th episode. The character of Dr. Smith, the treacherous,
Mm,
flamboyant Dr. Smith, was not meant to be a recurring character. He was just going to be in the
Oh, 'cause
first
you just
few
liked him so much.
episodes to kind of just set up the plot, put it in motion. He's the
Yep.
one who sabotaged the Jupiter 2. But
Spoiler.
from what I understand, Jonathan Harris really enjoyed playing the part, and so
Yeah.
kind of went out of his way to make his character, while the villain, a character that people enjoyed and
mhm.
wanted to stick around.
Pretty smart.
So he ended up kind of winning over the audience and the producers, and they kept him around. And
Yeah.
I think it might have been a vanity thing, maybe, where he was.
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I think I've seen interviews where it is a vanity thing.
Yeah.
Is very much.
I know he got super
Vanity.
pissy when they did that crappy movie in the
Uh-huh.
90s, that Matt LeBlanc movie.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Where
I saw
Right.
that in the theater.
Oh, as did I. I was super
Why does that not
excited about
surprise
it.
me?
I was, because I loved
I was psyched for it because I loved the old
TV
show.
series. Yeah, I was super hyped for it, and
Yep.
ooh, it was not good.
I haven't
But-
watched much of the Netflix show.
I watched the first season.
I watched the first
I enjoyed it.
couple episodes. It seemed okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've never, because the second season is out,
More
right?
serious. Yeah, it is.
Yes,
But
yeah.
I've not
Came out a
watched
while
it.
ago. Yeah,
But I'm so far
Um,
behind on my Netflix series at this point.
yeah, because a lot of the original cast members were in that movie in
Yeah.
like cameo roles,
Mhm.
and of course Gary Oldman played Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
And in the movie there was at one point when Gary Oldman, Dr. Smith, is sneaking aboard the ship to do his sabotage. He gets like a call from his boss, who's kind of lays out the plan. And the original idea was to have Jonathan Harris play his boss.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Harris was just like, well, if I can't play Dr. Smith, then I won't be in the movie at all. That kind of thing.
That's a good,
pretty good
impression
the pain of it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great show. I mean, it was a terrible show.
It's a great show. I bought the complete series on iTunes.
As did I.
Back.
Swiss Family Robinson in space, basically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're the Robinson family.
Yeah.
They're not being subtle about it.
No, right.
But theme song, by the way, John Williams.
That's right.
Really?
Yeah. Credited as Johnny Williams, but yeah.
Well, that's because he's younger.
Yeah, exactly. That's when he was hip.
Yeah. Your first episode, Phil, was episode 4.
Was it really?
Episode 4.
Was Dormer on that at that time?
No, Dormer did not come around until episode 8.
Oh,
Phil was on 4 and 7, and then Dormer came on at 8, and then Phil came back at 9, and I think we went from there. We went as a foursome.
Okay, so 9 was my first regular appearance then.
I think so.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's so because I've gone back and listened to the first 10 episodes, and I didn't really go any further because it's like who would listen to this after 10 episodes? It's interesting to listen to you.
To
those
who?
Early episodes. You.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Was I?
You were very much a games journalist.
Oh, really?
Really? What does that mean?
Very serious discussion about your thoughts on the games you played, and it was not. I mean,
man.
You've always been Phil.
Yeah.
Behind the curtain, we all knew Phil.
Right.
But you were very much in your.
I was trying
games
to be
industry.
serious.
I was
Phil?
like, oh shit, this is a podcast. I better straighten up.
Yeah,
People are listening to this.
Pretty much. And what's hilarious is it was episode 4, and I'm guessing we had maybe a dozen listeners.
Of course, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No, we actually got a lot of listeners fairly quickly.
Did we really?
Back in that time. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember I was stoked when we got over 100 listeners within like the first 2 or 3 episodes.
Because we beat Gaming Steve.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beat him
that
into
was
the
my goal
dirt.
That guy.
initially. Should we? I mean, this is episode 700. I know we've got a lot of new listeners to the podcast. You probably haven't listened
Do we?
to episodes. Should we talk about how we formulated this thing again?
Before we do that,
yes.
What's going on with your hair today?
Whose hair?
Your hair, the
I
one
don't
I'm
have
doing.
any. Who else?
Yeah,
could he
the
be
one
asking?
of us who has hair.
Whose hair?
What is
do you
that?
mean?
You got a little like extra flip going on there.
Flip?
Dude,
You
he
like
hasn't
the
been able
flip?
to have a haircut.
I haven't had a haircut in,
I guess that why have
long
you not had a
time.
haircut?
and I can't get one now.
Sure, you
You
can.
gotta get
If
a
you're-
suck cut.
You got
It
scissors?
sucks as it cuts. Yeah,
Your
Then
wife
you
can
could
cut
get a
your hair?
haircut.
I
you
probably
If you're
have a
not a
mixing bowl?
coward.
Do you have
I
a mixing bowl?
I probably could, but I
know he has a big
haven't yet.
Tupperware thing full of Oreos. Dump those out.
CJ, do me a favor.
Good point.
If
Yeah.
you do decide that you need to do that, record it
Oh, absolutely.
because that
My
is an after
goodness.
show.
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh baby,
Here's CJ's wife giving him a haircut.
I'd watch
Pretty
it.
good.
I'd pay
Daughter.
$5 to watch it.
Yeah,
your
yeah,
daughter
let
do
your
it.
daughter
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'd probably love it. She'd have a
Probably
blast.
would. She probably would. That's
Yeah.
right.
I love it.
Anyway,
Yeah,
the genesis of the show. Let's talk about it.
if you're in Europe,
We'll see.
the show's Mega Drive.
6.
Was it 6?
Yeah. It's been almost 14 years. That's right.
So I'm trying to remember what year I got married because that was pretty much when you and I mean, not that we had lost touch,
Right.
but we reconnected because you actually flew up here for my wedding.
I did.
What a waste of money.
In hindsight. Yeah.
Oh man,
But I remember that we I don't know
Because
that we
I flew
chatted
up
about
and
doing
then
a show then.
Jeannie Kim also flew up, right?
That's right. Jeannie and
Yeah,
Jordan
Jeannie and-
came up too. Yes.
Jeannie and Jordan, and then I flew up
Yeah.
from Texas.
Yep. So yeah, you came up for that and we all enjoyed Donairs.
We did. It was great.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was when we started talking about it because we'd been chatting fairly frequently online anyway. But it was
Yeah.
One Up was getting big, and they were doing the podcast thing, and they were
we were like, how
They
can
were
we
very
capitalize on
popular.
this?
pretty much. No,
Yeah.
I remember listening because we were both out of it at that point.
Yeah.
I think right, and we
Yeah, I worked at New Type USA, which is an
it
anime
literally
magazine.
it literally grew out of a discussion where the two of us said to each other, like, we could do that.
I think we were playing some game on Xbox Live.
Probably Burnout.
And we were probably discussing One Up Yours.
Burnout or Bully. It would have been one of those two games, because I think if you listen to the first couple episodes, those are the games we're talking about.
You're right. We were talking about whatever they were talking about on One Up Yours, and maybe we should record this. Like, we're entertaining.
Yeah, we have interesting things to say.
We have things to say. Would anybody listen to it? I don't know.
Headsets.
Yeah, and our first podcasting rig, as it were, SOCOM headsets, USB headsets.
But I'll tell you, there was if you go back and listen, we were ambitious because we were using like bumpers in between discussions and all the free GarageBand stuff, but
all the free loops that Apple provided with GarageBand.
There was a point where we were talking about using audience sound effects. Yeah,
which we did. There's actually there's a test episode that has that in it.
Yeah. Like laugh tracks and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like a 60s Hanna-Barbera cartoon,
basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And when we started, like, the reason I didn't buy a headset specifically for it was because I didn't think we'd do it more than like a couple episodes.
Nope.
So I didn't want to like invest money in a rig and then only do it for a few episodes. And then suddenly we're at 100 episodes, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, now 700. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So,
but yeah, because back then you were working at New Type and I was freelancing.
That's right.
So and it's funny too to go back and listen, because we've gotten to the point, and I always think it's interesting where this has been so long running, all three of us, and I mean there have been other hosts that have come through, obviously, like Dormer and Greg Ford and Ethan, Mike Phillips, but all three of us, because Phil was there very early as well. I mean, you were single, CJ.
Yeah.
I was newly married. Phil, were you married at the point that you came on?
What year was that?
That would have been 2006.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
None of us had kids.
Yeah.
None of us had kids.
No.
And like now we're very much, we play what we want to play, and it doesn't have to be new and everything. If you listen to those early episodes, man, we are playing everything, and we have opinions on, oh my God, like these 4 games came out this week, and between us, we played them all. Like, not very much.
Right.
But we played them all. And now it's, I mean, the show is kind of, I mean, we have lots of listeners who say like that's one of the things that they like about the show, is that we kind of just talk about what we want to talk about.
Right.
So it's not so much us telling you this game sucks or it's not a current event show by a long shot.
It has evolved. Like before, I used to try to write down all the news stories that happened that week.
Yeah.
Now I just write down the stories I think we're going to want to talk about, or like we'll have anything to say about.
And you're at about 50-50 at that point too. So.
I'm at 50-50, with that too. But yeah, and then if we want to go back even further to how we all met, I think Greg, we met on IRC originally, like.
Yes, the Vid Games chat channel.
There used to be a place on the internet. Internet Relay Chat was the system. And there was a channel called Vid Games. And actually a lot of people came out of Vid Games. A lot of people that and listen to, probably like John Riccardi and Mark
McDonald, Che Chow. And then I was actually talking to Patrick Klepek, to Gaz, Cameron Davis. In Australia. I was actually talking to him about this last week, because that channel was ridiculous. When you look back and you see who the regulars were on that channel, Dan Shu was on that channel as well. Craig Kuyava was on that channel.
Yeah, Craig.
It was a big Ziff Davis contingent, but even outside of that, there are a lot of names that went on to be Pete Bartholow, which I forget the name of his company now. But and Ravi Hiranand, who was on CNN for quite a while. There were some big industry names that were all kids on that channel, like all teenagers, early 20-something on that channel. It's really impressive, actually. I'd like to go back and really dig into that a little bit more. That's something that I was talking to
Yeah.
Cameron about this past week, actually. But
I mean,
that's where CJ and I met. Although we weren't really
when-
close there, but that's where CJ and I met.
when I joined that channel, it was sort of because there used to be something called Usenet news groups back in the day.
That's where
Right.
sorry, go ahead.
And a lot of people from those Usenet news groups went to IRC as a place to sort of real-time chat rather than post something on a sort of Reddit style board.
Hmm.
IRC was much more like Discord, where you joined a channel and really there was just one channel, Vid Games, that all this stuff sort of came out of. And I think it was like 1995 was the year when I started really, maybe 94, when I started getting big into using IRC, and I was using it on my Apple II. And yeah, that was real fun. And I that's where the handle Super Pack comes from, in fact, because
You're so into
political.
politics, yeah.
yeah, it's my Twitter handle, and it's also was my handle on IRC was Super Pack. And when you joined IRC, you had to come up with like a nickname. So I was horrible at coming up with nicknames. So Super Pack.
So am
became
I. I
that.
just use my last name all the time.
So, but then you were Gurgle for years.
I was.
Gurgle.
That's-
Really?
Yep. Gurgle.
Gurgle, I didn't know that.
Gurgle.
Gurgle Seward, huh?
I can't remember why. I think that was because it was a pet name that my girlfriend at the time had for me or something. I don't know.
Gurgle?
Yep.
Okay.
It's my first name. Well, part of it's my first
Kind
name
of.
backwards.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
a lot of people came out of that.
But going back
Games
even
group.
further, so Usenet, that was
Mhm.
where I first met Sam Kennedy,
Ah.
who,
Oh,
is
Sam
kind
Kennedy
of how-
came out of IRC as
Yep.
well.
and that's kind of how I got started in the industry, because I was posting on Usenet. Marty Chin is another one who was a big name in. He's a developer now. I don't know who for anymore, but it was EA for a while. But yeah, so Usenet, I spent when I got a computer for the first time, I spent a ton of time on Usenet, and
Me too.
I forget the name of the guy that I met through there, but there was a guy who reached out to me and Jim Cordera, who runs Gaming Age now, who reached out and said, we want to start, I'm starting a new website. And this was back when everyone was starting fan sites, the
Yeah.
mid 90s. That was the thing, right? That it was the new fanzine. And he said, we started something called Daily Saturn Gamer. And Sam Kennedy was running a website called Gaming Enthusiast Online at the time, and he was looking to do like microsites for the different consoles. So he reached out to our group and asked if we would be like the Saturn microsite for Gaming Enthusiast Online. He had a publisher who they had a falling out, and so a group of us, Sam was sort of the head of it, but people like Dave Toole, who still I think works at videogames.com or GameSpot or whatever it's called now,
Mhm.
Jim Cordera and I and Sam and Brady Fichter, who was Game Fan for a long time in Gamers Republic, we got together and created Gaming Age. And that was our intro into vid games, because Gaming Age was kind of the non-official official vid games. So much of the content that was talked about in vid games was on Gaming Age.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so many of the people who went from vid games to pro work in the industry went through Gaming Age to build up their portfolio. Che Chow did that. Mark McDonald did that.
Patrick Klepek.
Well, Patrick Klepek did that. I did that. Sam did that. Like
Everybody.
so, yeah.
Yeah. And
That
then
goes really far back.
Phil. I
Yeah.
remember
Where the hell did Phil come from?
Not from your little incestuous group, I'll tell you that much.
That's why you've always been an outsider, Phil.
That's right.
I remember I met Phil on my first day back at EGM. So I was at EGM in 94 for
Yeah,
a
you were
time.
12 at the time.
I was 12 at the time. No, it was my
And he was still 7 feet tall.
It was between my junior and senior year of high school, just to
Yeah.
give you an idea of how young I was at the time. And I left after a couple of months in the fall because I couldn't do EGM and school at the same time. It was just ridiculous.
CJ's
Yeah,
ready
so-
to leave, and his mom said no.
Well, also, yeah, I had to borrow my parents' car to go to work, and yeah, it was the whole thing.
You were Patrick Klepek before Patrick Klepek was Patrick Klepek.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so I came back in the summer of '95 and wrote the PlayStation book for EGM, and then I went off to college for journalism, and
Did you finish college?
did not finish college.
Congratulations.
I only did 1 year.
Brother.
And we had sort of family.
How did I end up being the most educated out of the three of us?
So weird.
That's
had sort of a
weird.
family emergency where my dad had lost his job and I couldn't go back to school for a second
So you had a
year.
good reason. I was
So
just
I had a good reason. So I didn't go back to school in the fall. Instead, I got a job doing freelance work for EGM. And initially it was the N64 book that I worked on with John Riccardi. And then after that was done, that was sort of a summer thing. Joe Funk at Sendai asked
That's
me
a
if
real
I wanted
name.
to come back.
Yeah, real guy.
Yeah. And EGM was, gearing up for their holiday issues. They needed writers and people to do stuff for these huge phone book size issues. And I said, sure. I'd be happy to. And that's when I met Phil.
Lucky you.
Because you had also been brought on
I had
as
So basically, we're going to all the Babbages and Software et cetera in the Chicagoland area and hiring whoever happened to be working that shift. Was that?
no,
yeah.
I did not get brought on through that little incestuous IRC group. I got brought on through a whole completely different incestuous. Avenue.
Right.
Because I was friends with Sean Smith.
Because that's how you got those jobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
It absolutely is how you got those jobs back then. And probably to a degree today as well.
Sure.
But
That's true.
no, Sean Smith, who was on EGM, he was an EGM writer. Nowadays, of course, artist. We're working out of Chicago, Shawnimals and Ninja Town.
Ninja Town.
Yep.
I love Ninja Town.
Yeah. And Sean, he's doing all sorts of just awesome art stuff these days.
Indeed.
But
Good people.
oh, absolutely. And I was good friends with Sean in high school. I met him in high school. We were both on the high school newspaper, and we
Nerds.
became friends right away because we were nerds. And
You more than him.
well, no, he was.
I
he
think
was a
Sean
pretty
just
big nerd.
outgrew it faster.
Sean,
You're right.
He hit it better.
no,
Right.
you know what the difference was. We were both really big nerds, but Sean is good looking.
I was gonna say
So
it was right on
doesn't-
the edge. I was gonna say, Sean, no
Sean
offense.
Sean
was
doesn't
an
read.
attractive man.
Sean doesn't read as a nerd because he's good looking, whereas I'm a goofy looking dork.
Where you look like you used comedy to get through most difficult situations in high school.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was also very quick in high school, Greg, so I got out of trouble that way too. Yeah,
And after them, I just have to outrun you.
exactly. So I was buddies with Sean, and of course Sean got his job at EGM through a little incestuous means as well.
Yeah,
'cause
right.
he was at some point post high school, in like junior college phase, because we all went to like the community college. He was dating a girl who happened to be like the cousin, I believe, of Joe Funk, the aforementioned Joe Funk.
Yeah.
And so this girlfriend was like, oh, you like video games, my, let's say, cousin
He
works
played a
at
video game once.
this video game magazine. I should totally introduce you to him. And of course it was like, yeah, it's Electronic Gaming Monthly. And Sean was like, holy crap, really? Because it was EGM. We all grew up reading it.
Yep.
So yeah, he met. I'm telling this story that Sean told me years ago, so it's probably full of inaccuracies. But Joe gave him a job on EGM, And then yeah, at some point Sean was like, "Oh yeah, you know, we're hiring a couple people kind of part-time to fill out the holiday issues. You should totally apply." So I did. And yeah, went in and had my interview with Ed Semrad, who at the time I was totally enamored with because he was Ed Semrad. He was the guy who ran EGM, this magazine I'd been reading for years and years. And ended up getting this part-time job, which part-time, of course, equaled maybe 50 hours a week.
Right.
At that point,
we were both hourly, right? We had to both fill out time cards.
Absolutely, yeah.
And punch in and punch out at the time.
Yep. But yeah, and then I started there, and then it was pretty soon after, if I remember correctly. It was, you know, maybe a week or two when it was like, oh, Secret Turtle's coming back.
Yeah,
Secret Turtle,
which was of course nickname. CJ's nickname was Secret. Remember when CJ said he couldn't come up with nicknames?
I did not get for so long.
CJ,
because by the time I had started, because I started at Ziff Davis in 1999, Phil, you were already gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if you ever worked there full time up to that point, but you weren't working there at the time.
I did not work full time until I got hired at Expert Gamer.
Right. So I came in October 99, I think.
Yeah.
That's when I moved, actually. And I didn't really, I mean, I knew CJ from IRC, but I didn't really know him that well. And a bunch of us, the Vid Games crew, would go to E3s.
Yep.
We all went to the 97 E3 and the 98 E3 and 99 E3. But CJ was actually working for a real job.
I was, but I'm pretty sure we hung out during.
We did hang out, but we didn't hang out a lot because CJ actually had work to do, where the rest of us were typing in press releases for a little website. And so I knew him, but I worked for John Riccardi. He was the editor-in-chief of Expert Gamer. And John, I mean, I think the whole time that we all worked at the same place, I'm pretty sure John always called you Turtle. Always called you Turtle.
Yeah, probably.
Even in person. And I never knew what that was about. Like, and I never asked.
Right.
It wasn't until years later that I knew the whole Secret Turtle thing. But I remember my first real memory of you when I started working at Expert Gamer. So when I was working in the office finally, because Expert Gamer, we were nobodies. We were down one end of the office. And then you went up the office and you passed OPM. And then you went through an archway.
Yeah.
Yes.
The nice side of the office. And that's where the flagship was. That's where EGM was. And I vividly remember that there was a day where you were supposed to get a package and you couldn't, I don't know if you couldn't find it or hadn't shown up or whatever. And you walked down the aisle of the office asking anybody if they'd gotten whatever it was you were looking for. And this was in the Budweiser commercial was big, the What's Up commercial.
Oh no.
And I think everybody did that to you as you walked by. What's up? Probably. So yeah, that's my first memory of you.
That's ridiculous.
So
that's ridiculous.
But then we became quite close because when I moved over to EGM, I was in the cubicle next to you. And we were just hang out. And then Phil got hired at Expert Gamer, which became Game Now. And
it's true.
We were just kind of the crew that hung out.
Well, and then like working part-time on EGM, since we both had to do time cards and we both also had to like jockey for computers and different things like that. We became pretty close just because we were under the same working conditions. Like we didn't really have a workstation. Really, we had to kind of borrow, and
we were both anime nerds.
We were both anime nerds. Yeah,
so we bonded over like Ranma.
It's true.
Yep,
it's true. But I remember like in the summer of '96 when I figured out that I wasn't going to go back for my sophomore year of college. That was right when Ziff Davis bought Sendai, and I thought like, because I had scheduled a lunch with Steve Harris. I was going to have lunch with Steve and talk about like what's going on. Like, can I maybe get a job again at EGM? And he was basically like out of the business at that time. Like after Ziff bought EGM, I was like, there goes that. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a job at EGM because now I don't know anybody there. And at the time they published Intelligent Gamer magazine, which John Riccardi was.
This is where John and Craig both came from, I think.
John and Craig both came from there.
Because that was a website.
It was a website. Yeah.
Gamer
Jared
Online.
Horowitz did that website for a long time and turned it into a magazine. Then he left. I think he does like tech reviews now, actually. But yeah, I thought there was no way I was going to get back into video games journalism because Ziff had bought EGM, and what was this sort of, you know, where they used to hire people out of high school and college. Suddenly, this is a real company.
Right.
They probably weren't going to deal with that anymore, right? But I did get hired back as holiday help, and then was able to stay on.
I've always been curious about this, and I sort of, because of doing Generation 16, I've been going back through old issues of EGM, just sort of seeing what was covered in case there's any quotes or anything I could use. And but I remember in the masthead, by the time I was there, you were the news editor, and in the masthead it would go down and everyone's job title, but beside your job title, in parentheses, it always said "Thank God for Chris Johnston."
I have no idea why.
I've always been curious about. I'd love to know when that started and why it started. Like, it's just a weird thing in the masthead.
I have no idea why, and what issue was that? I have no.
Well, I think it was in there for
recollection of that.
most of the early issues that
Really?
I was part of. I mean, I could
Interesting.
run and go look, but I'm pretty sure it's even in the first issue. that I
Oh,
was in.
Yeah, I have no.
Yeah.
Memory.
I mean,
of
it
that one.
actually, by the time I was gone, it had disappeared because we had completely redesigned the magazine, and
Yeah.
you know, that whole section got redesigned. But up until that point, they were just swapping names out of the masthead, so they weren't really changing anything otherwise.
Yeah. But yeah, when we got started with this podcast, I had started listening to podcasts like a year before we started this. I had listened to Major Nelson Radio, which is also still going.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were a big Major Nelson Radio guy.
I was. I
quite a
really
while.
liked Major Nelson Radio, and I mean, back at that time, before the Xbox 360 came out, it was super exciting to listen to Larry Herb talk about the 360.
It was a new thing, right?
It was a new thing. It was like
Yeah.
we all had magazines, and there was obviously internet news, but this was like an insider talking about the new console and his hands-on time with it and games, and it was great. Whenever a new episode of Major Nelson came out, I would throw it on my iPod, and I also had one of those cassette adapters that you plug into your iPod and you put it in your tape deck in your Automo car. And I would on the morning a new episode came out, I would do that, sync my iPod, and go have breakfast at Chick-fil-A and listen to Major Nelson Radio in the parking lot of a Best Buy in Houston, Texas.
That doesn't
And,
sound good at
uh,
all.
man.
But then that became like listening to One Up Yours and the Cheap Ass Gamer podcast, the CADcast.
I remember when the One Up podcast, I don't know if it was called One Up Yours at the time, but the very first one I remember was actually Jane Pinker just reading news
Right.
stories.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's how that started.
And it changed.
Yeah.
At a certain point, got all of the personalities that a lot of people attribute One Up Yours with on
Yeah.
that show, like Luke and Shane and
But yeah, that's
John.
what was big at the time, and that was the conversation literally was, we should try that.
Yeah, we
I
should
do
try that.
remember, you're
Because,
right. I'm pretty sure it was Burnout that we were playing when we were talking about it.
yeah, I think you're right. But it's like with podcasts, I loved the conversational tone of them, and especially One Up Yours, because we'd worked with all those people and knew them personally. It was so easy to like listen. It was great to listen to that show and sort of relive some of the conversations that we would have during lunch or deadline dinners at a magazine. Like, it was very similar to that.
And I think that was one of the reasons too, because we were both gone from there at that point. Like, we had both left before One Up became a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they were building it while I was there, and you were there for a couple
I was
years
there
while it was, but
yeah.
before like the One Up show became big and all that sort of thing. But I think
That's
the fact that we had worked with all those people was kind of like, well, we can do that. They're doing it. They're good at it.
Right. We
We can do that.
We'll be less good at it, but we
I don't know
really
which
have a
one-
platform.
which
There's
one's
some
still
choice.
Which
around?
one's still here?
Mhm.
One of yours didn't go for 700 episodes.
Yep.
That's true. That's true.
Quitters.
Uh, and I'm somewhat amazed, in the early days of recording the show, we used to bounce around the times and days that we
Oh
recorded
my
it
god!
for
Yeah.
like a good
And that was with 4 hosts.
half the time with 4 hosts. So basically recording could happen any evening from Thursday till Sunday night.
Yeah.
It was just like whenever all 4 of us were free.
I'm not saying that's the reason I'm divorced, but it didn't help.
Didn't help. No, it was hard, and of course I had the most flexible schedule I think of everybody for a lot of that time. But yeah, and also there was time zones involved as well, because Phil was in Pacific, I was in Central, you were in Atlantic, and then all sorts of moving around. So
And for the good of the show, I've never changed time zones.
for the good of the show, no, you have not, and I don't think Phil has either.
No.
Just me.
That's right.
Yeah. But I also want to thank our listeners. A lot of people have been around listening to the show for a long time. I want to thank everybody for sticking around and listening to us week after week. I think when we started the show, it was really just more of an excuse to hop on Skype and talk about video games and have conversations about games. And we recorded it and put it out on the web, but I don't think we expected very many people to listen to it. And the fact that a lot of people listen to it is awesome. We haven't really I haven't done a whole lot in promoting the show itself. So I think a lot of people hear about it from word of mouth
From their friends with great taste.
with great tastes, and
Or their friends who taste great.
or that.
Mhm.
And
Settle
I
down,
want to
Jessica.
thank everybody for sticking with us over for 700 freaking episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
and
lot of
also
episodes.
all
I wouldn't
of-
stick with a podcast for 700 episodes. That's all I'm saying.
me neither. And
Even
all
if my
of
friends
the
were on it.
all of the other fourth chairs that have joined us over the years, thank you to them as well for just the time that they spent
Sorry
talk-
you couldn't hack it.
talking
Ooh.
talking
No,
about
just kidding.
games with us.
Ouch.
Like they all left for their own reasons.
No, I'm just kidding.
It was
starting
usually
with Dan
something
Dormer.
Greg said. Yeah.
I did
But,
I did fire Patrick Klepek from my website once.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
He was 12 at the time.
The funny thing, well, I have pictures of, and I think you were there too,
Yep.
Greg.
And
We
exactly
went
what
over
you're
to
gonna talk
Patrick Klepek's house.
Patrick
Which was his parents'
Patrick
house.
Klepek's parents' house.
Yeah, we went over to his parents' house to play DDR in his bedroom on the PlayStation.
Let's not tell that story.
PlayStation 2, something like that. But we had it was you, me, who else? Elaine, and was Dudlack there too?
I
John
think so.
Dudlack.
Yeah, Lane Chow.
And Skip Pfister
Yes.
was there with us too.
Right. Another one from Vid Games.
Another one from
Oh,
Vid
yeah.
Games. That's
I think
true.
Elaine was on Vid Games too.
She was, yeah.
She's at Adobe now, I think.
I think you're right.
No.
But yeah, thank you everybody for sticking with us. And I guess now we'll get into some video game news. What do you think?
Get a half
Good?
an hour. Why not?
Yeah. All right. So this past week was April Fool's Day. April 1st, which
Okay,
just so happened to
gotcha.
be my 10-year wedding anniversary. So made it 10 years.
Forgot you were. Yes, I forgot that you got married on April.
Did you
1st.
almost say
All
born?
pop up? No. I
Really?
saw all the pictures pop up on Facebook though, so I knew
Oh.
it was recent, but I'd forgotten that it was April 1st.
10,
Yep.
10 years, April 1st. Yeah.
Look at you.
Yep, got married on April Fool's Day. But so the makers of Monster Boy,
Yes.
FDG,
FDG.
tweeted out this thing on April 1st. Surprise, we're happy to announce our new game project, DuckTales Quack Shots, together with Monster Boy game development partner Game Atelier. And they have 4 screenshots here. And, obviously it's April 1st. I figured that it was a April Fool's joke, as did a lot
Well,
of
you never
people,
know
but
now, right? Because I mean,
you never
Disney's been
never
pretty
know.
open to those old games coming back.
That's very true. That's very true. So a lot of these shots, and Quackshot personally is one of my favorite Genesis games.
Good game.
It's a Donald Duck platformer, and so these shots of potential remake got me really excited. And unfortunately, it was just an April Fool's joke. However, they revealed afterwards that it was actually something that they had pitched. And their tweet on that says, "Thank you for the overwhelming feedback on DuckTales Quackshot screens. We worked hard on a legit pitch to Disney, but unfortunately never got the license. It would have been a shame to bury the material, so it became this year's April Fool's. Maybe someday Disney will reconsider."
So this is really more of a passive aggressive
Yeah, really.
shot at negotiation again.
Yeah.
They'd already done the work.
Good
Maybe
for them.
if we get a bunch of people complaining to
Yeah.
Disney about this,
Because
we'll
I
get
mean,
the job.
it's the internet. People are going to complain.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
already being inundated with letters at this point. So
Probably. I'd love to see that happen, though. But it was great to
they
see
look gorgeous.
the images from this pitch because, yeah, it looks gorgeous. I would play the hell out of this.
Mm.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not true. But it
Yeah.
also was one of the few, I feel, April Fool's jokes making the rounds this year because a lot of people just didn't.
I
Obviously,
don't think
with
people were much in the mood.
with everything that's happening in the world, people are not in the mood to joke around or try to hoodwink people. So, but this was one that stood out to me that I wanted to bring light to. Right?
I did not expect you to use the word hoodwink, but yes.
Okay, then. So then on April 2nd, we got an
Not
announcement
April Fool's Day.
of Rogue Legacy 2, which, Phil, I know Rogue Legacy is one of your absolute favorite games of all time. If not, maybe your game of all time.
Oh, what's going on?
Rogue Legacy 2?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that announcement? So they
Of
had
course
a little
I
video.
did. Yes, of course I did. I was. Is there a video?
There's it's like a 3-second. It's not much. It's a 3-second
So-
video.
Did you
So
see
it's
that
GIF.
animated GIF? Yeah.
Okay,
No, all I
fine.
saw were the screenshots of it. But yes, I'm obviously very, very stoked about Rogue
Yeah.
Legacy. I am. As you said, Rogue Legacy, one of my favorite games
Ever.
ever.
Yeah.
Not of all time, but it's up.
Not
there.
of all time, really.
I mean, it's Mega
Gotta be
Man 2
close.
still exists.
You
My
probably have to
goodness.
buy it on a couple of more systems before
Yeah,
it
that's
becomes your
true.
favorite game ever.
That is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited about it. Although, as I mentioned this on Twitter, I'm a little disappointed
Mm,
that they are moving away from the kind of pixel look.
right. This is
They are-
hand-drawn art. That
They are
show in
abandoning
these
the
screenshots.
pixel aesthetic, and it. I mean, again, I haven't seen it in motion,
Right.
And apparently, with a 3-second clip, there's not much motion to see.
There's a little bit.
I'm
There's a
worried.
character turning around and sticking up
Okay.
a sword.
I'm worried that it's going to look kind of like Flash animation, that kind of like kind of like that puppet kind of
Right.
look that you see in some of these indie games, where it's like
Yeah.
we've just drawn a bunch of limbs and they're all kind of
It's like a
puppeted
paper
together.
doll.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't look like that. Not that
Yeah.
I won't play it.
Of
I'll
course.
just be bummed if it has that look to it.
Yeah.
So
Now that a sequel has been announced,
yes.
what feature or thing would you most want out of a sequel? Like what?
Microtransactions, plenty of them.
Yes.
Loot boxes.
Let's bring
Let
this game
me-
into the 21st century.
Let me pay 99 cents to get a random weapon.
I don't think that'll happen.
I
but-
don't know. I honestly don't
don't
know.
know?
I don't know.
I looked at these screenshots, so it looks very similar
It does. Which
to the existing Rogue Legacy.
yeah,
Which I was like, I can't really tell. I mean, obviously the hand-drawn look that differentiates
Yeah.
it, but what is going to differentiate this from
It'll be the 2 in the title.
I'm
previous game?
hopefully there'll be some more areas, because the first game there are 4 kind of main areas. You have like the main castle, and then kind of the attic area. You have the forest, and then the kind of dungeony basement area.
Yeah.
So it's more than 4 zones in which to play would be nice, just to add a little greater variety for those of us who replay and replay and replay it over and over and over and
Mhm.
over again. That's probably my main
More zones.
thing. Yeah, more zones, more scrolls, maybe too.
Gotta
They
get
could
them
beef up the number
scrolls.
of scrolls. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know.
that'd be a good idea.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Although I was lukewarm on Cellar Door Games' follow-up,
Full Metal
So,
Furies.
Full Metal Furies, not Full Metal Furries,
Right.
which is what I always want to say when I see that title.
right. Bad title. Really
It's
not
it's
a great title.
it's a terrible title. It's a terrible title.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really get into that game.
Mhm.
So hopefully this one is a little more Rogue Legacy than Full Metal
yeah.
Furies.
Furies.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I imagine this will be on all platforms, although they
I'm
haven't
sure.
said. So
I'm sure it'll be everywhere. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. So we got a rumor that Nintendo is planning some big stuff for Mario's 35th anniversary.
Mm.
And that there are multiple Mario remasters, so remasters of 3D Mario games in particular, coming for the Switch, potentially in a package that would be like a Super Mario All-Stars 2.
Oh, I didn't realize that was part of this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If it's true.
Well, I mean, it would include Super Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. And that it's possible that Super Mario 3D World will get its own re-release.
That
Kinda
makes
like,
sense because where's a Wii U game?
Right. So this was reported by a bunch of different places, including GamesBeat and Eurogamer and Video Games Chronicle. So it seems like where there's smoke, there's fire. So this, at least some of this will be true or will come true. And apparently, the story is that Nintendo was planning a lot of this for reveal during E3, during their presentation, and that they would have like a bunch of different things around it, including a reveal of the Mario movie, which still has, we know it's in the works, but hasn't been revealed yet.
They got a lot
And
to live up to now
Universal,
that Sonic's out there, but
right? And then the Universal Studios Super Nintendo World theme park.
Oh yeah.
That's coming.
looks so cool.
Yeah, it absolutely does. So yeah, in addition to the 3D Mario games, there's also a rumor that Paper Mario game, whatever that means, does it mean a new one? Does it mean Color Splash? Does it mean a remake of Thousand Year Door, which a lot of people would love, I'm sure. Who knows? But that's in there as well. So
Honestly,
That's
I'm
pretty
in
exciting stuff.
just to have an updated Mario 64.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's still one of the best games ever.
yeah,
Still one of my favorite Mario games. Top 3, easy.
yeah. It's a great game for sure. So that's some exciting stuff on the Switch front.
Yes.
Speaking of delays and the current state of the world with coronavirus, Sony announced that The Last of Us Part 2 and Iron Man VR have been delayed indefinitely.
Yep.
Sucks.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but understandable considering.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a little irritated at the what seems to be the conspiracy theories going around about this, though.
What's
where it's
that?
like they're using it as an excuse to buy more development time.
Oh,
I really don't feel like that's the case.
Naughty Dog caused the coronavirus?
is this what you're saying?
Not what I'm
no.
saying.
No, people are talking.
Now, indefinitely is a word that is perhaps sounds scarier than it necessarily is,
Right.
because people hear indefinitely and they think it means essentially canceled.
Right.
They think it means years
Nobody-
away.
People don't think that in relation to this, though, right?
I don't know.
It's the
do they?
internet.
It's the internet.
It's
Of course
internet,
they
I
do.
guess, right?
Indefinitely just means what can mean like an unspecified time. They
Right.
just they don't
It just means they don't have another date yet.
they
They
don't
don't
have
want to put a
date.
date on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it could be a week after it was originally supposed to come out. They just don't necessarily have that information right now.
Right.
So I feel like
it won't be a week.
and they
after it was
announced this on
supposed to come
April 2nd. Thankfully,
Yeah.
they didn't announce it on April 1st.
I'm sure that was very intentional.
I
that
am
they
sure
did.
that it was. Yes. Let's not do this on April 1st.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that for the first thing that I thought of although I know that other games haven't necessarily had this issue,
Mm-hmm.
but the first thing I thought of is that the nature of AAA releases now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you need people there to fix the inevitable
Sure.
issues they're going to crop up, especially because does this have online multiplayer? I think it does,
No,
right?
No.
Oh, okay, this
Last
one
of Us
doesn't.
Part 2, no.
But either way, I mean, you know, you got to have a team. You got to have an ops team ready to push patches to create
Sure.
and the dev team to create patches because there will inevitably be issues. So
Right.
Well, not even
You're not
that.
gonna
Like,
have
the
those
last
people
couple
working.
big Sony launches, like Days Gone and Spider-Man, have all had post-launch updates, either
Yeah.
like adding a photo mode or doing extra stuff, making adding more accessibility options. Like there have been something that has come up post-launch that Sony has treated these almost like a live service game in some ways, but
well, there's an element of
it's-
that to everything now.
and there's an element of it to everything. It's certainly not the game's gone gold. We're all going home. We're all going on vacation for a month
Yeah.
or two. Like that doesn't really
It's
happen
not a thing anymore.
Much anymore. Right.
That's the first thing that came to mind for me is just like, well, yeah, they can't do the post-launch support the way they would normally, and it's the biggest release of the year
Yeah.
for the PS4 anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What about Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm sure will
That's
probably also get a delay announcement.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was supposed to be out at the end of June.
Mm.
And I think they just announced a release date for that not long ago, or there was a new trailer anyway a few weeks ago. I imagine that'll be delayed as well.
I would think.
Yes, indeed. E3 got canceled, but IGN is going to host a Summer of Gaming event, like a digital event with several publishers on board, including 2K, Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, Amazon, Stadia, Twitter, what? Devolver Digital, THQ Nordic, and more. Apparently, this is something that John Davison has been working on, former editor-in-chief of EGM.
He was not in
no-
vid games.
He was not at Vid Games, but now he's at IGN and putting together a presentation like this. So this will be a bunch of companies coming together to show off new and coming soon product
Digitally.
Okay. Yeah.
That's interesting. Something else that's happening digitally only that I actually want to make sure that I mention on here is Extra Life. Every year they have Extra Life United, which is a tournament that they run down at Disney World in Florida. And it coincides with, there's a Children's Miracle Network. I've talked about this before, like a week where they bring in the CMN champions from all the children's hospitals that are part of the Children's Miracle Network. I went the first year that they did it, and it's a really cool thing where there's a bunch of prizes that you can win, where basically you're winning money for your hospital, whatever hospital that you're playing for. But it's a small event, part of a much larger event, which is one of the things that's included there is that like the champions and their families all get a trip down to Florida, down to Disney World, and they have an all access pass, and they have an event where they actually get announced on stage. Like each one comes out and they get announced, and they have a huge crowd cheering for it. It's really great. Anyway, unfortunately they had to cancel that this year for obvious reasons. And so Extra Life has decided to do it digitally this year. So this coming, it's the 7th through the 9th, April 7th through 9th, they're doing online tournaments where that prize pool can still be basically doled out to these hospitals. So and I'm taking part in it this year.
Cool.
So the evening of April 7th, I should be streaming that on Twitch TV/Seward.
Cool.
As soon as I know what my schedule is. I don't know what the tournament schedule is yet, which rounds I'm in, but
That's
it's something
awesome.
that they're doing all digital as well. So, it's cool. It's really interesting to see the internet being used for good.
That is, that's a good thing.
In these
Also,
situations. So,
Games Done Quick, which is they have a summer event usually. They've canceled that, and in its place, they're going to do Corona Relief Done Quick from April 17th through 19th, an online event as well, just
Cool.
raising money for direct relief. So I'll link to that in the show notes as well. Very good stuff. So there's also a rumor that Capcom is going to release Resident Evil 8 next year.
Cool. Resident Evil 7 was really great.
Yes, indeed. So there's a person on the internet, Aesthetic Gamer 1 is the Twitter account. Basically,
His
leaking
uncle works at
details.
Capcom.
His uncle works at Capcom. Has told him that Resident Evil 8, apparently, which did not begin its life as a mainline Resident Evil game, is it used to be Revelations 3 and is going to be now Resident Evil 8 in 2021. So
Hearing
forward to there.
mixed reviews of the Resident Evil 3 remake.
yeah, I heard that as well. I was Resident Evil 3 is not my favorite Resident Evil.
I never really played any of them.
And also the games that use that engine, so RE2 and also DMC5 uses the same engine, like gives me motion sickness. Like,
All right, I think you talked about this last week.
bad. So I cannot play either RE2, which really I hate that I can't play it because RE2 is my favorite Resident Evil, and RE3 as well.
Maybe you
So
should just man up.
I can't. I
Play
can't
through the pain.
I can't do it. I've tried. I played the demo of RE2
I thought
now
you had bracelets.
twice, and it hasn't gone well. Let's just say. Yeah,
What
the
about the
bracelets don't
bracelets?
work on games.
The bracelets, they do nothing.
Yes. All right. Let's get into what you've been playing. We've all been playing Animal Crossing, so let's just talk about Animal Crossing for a
Man,
little
I'm playing
while.
so much Animal Crossing.
Oh man.
Greg, you still have not visited my town or opened your gates so that I could visit you. I've got a racing outfit
I
that I
know.
bought
Oh, man.
specifically for you that I have in my inventory that I'm like, Greg wants this racing outfit. I'm going to bring it to
do.
him. You just have to open your gates.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrible. I've only opened the gates once.
Yeah.
I have to say that's I don't like the way they handle people showing up at your island.
It's
Um,
lengthy. It's a lengthy process.
It's lengthy. Yes,
Yeah.
it is because
Yeah.
I mean, it's creative.
Yeah. Well, not
But
only that,
it's
not only is it
lengthy.
lengthy though, you can't do certain things. You can't do a lot of things when somebody's there.
But
Like,
I
you
thought
can't
that
place
was always
objects.
like that. Like there's certain things you couldn't sell things in the store, and you couldn't.
You can sell things in the store.
Or is it? There's something
Yeah.
else. Oh, you can't put things in the museum. That's what it is.
That's
Can't
right.
donate things
Yeah.
to the museum. Other people.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
now
so
that the game is, you can place a lot of things outside.
Yes.
A lot of those restrictions of what you could and couldn't do before with online play now extend to the outside as well.
yeah, so like I was playing through Space Quest 3 actually last Monday. I think it was Monday that this happened, and I finished the game and I still had like an hour left during my stream, so I was like, I'm just gonna throw on Animal Crossing and open the gates. And so like 6 people showed up.
Showed up
Yeah.
immediately.
As they were all showing up, it's like I was trying to have a conversation and donate stuff for the museum, and it's just like, no, it's gonna go through this whole rigmarole. But it was
It's
great.
like a
because-
minute and a half process.
Yeah, but I
pretty
mean,
much.
like what you were saying was great because people just were basically showed up bearing gifts, and it was awesome. And they like we have all the different types of fruit in town now,
Nice.
and they all left gifts in front of my kids' houses,
Aw.
which I thought was great. I was really
Which you
yeah,
ran and picked up and
No,
sold.
I didn't. I didn't touch any of them.
No, it's
Um,
okay.
You can
So,
admit it on this
anyway.
podcast.
No, I really didn't. But yeah, it was great. And we were playing so much Animal Crossing. Oh my God, we're playing so much Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
It's really all our lives are like, and especially now where we all have so much spare time at home.
Mm.
It's our lives are kind of revolving
Yeah.
around checking Animal Crossing.
Well, now, of course, you know, for the first 9 or so days that you play on the Switch, it says, oh, you first played 9 days ago. Now it's rolled over to show the hour count. And mine says that I've played it for 65 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
I play at least an hour a day, if not 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just me.
It's a fun little game.
Yeah.
I'm playing the stock market as well. I bought like
Pretty good.
200,000 bells worth of
Oh,
turnips
jeez.
this morning.
So I have a question because Phil, I saw
Yes.
you were on Twitter asking about a specific KK slider.
Go KK
Go.
Rider.
KK Rider.
Yeah. So what do you do with those when you buy them?
So you can put them in any radio or stereo, and
But not a record player, apparently.
No, record player.
record player. Yeah.
Okay, because my daughter bought one and she has a record player and she couldn't figure out how to use.
So you have to have it in
the record
your inventory in your pocket
player.
at the time. You can't have it just in storage, and then you open up press
Yeah.
the A button or A button
See
on the record player, and register. You have to hit the register button in the interface, and
Oh, she must have missed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once you have a record player in your house, you can you just use it and it brings up a little sub menu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where
I saw you post a picture of that. And I was like, how did
Yeah.
you get to that menu?
Yeah, you just use a record player.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can all the albums you can just add to it, and then pick which song you want to listen to,
or have it on shuffle.
in your house, or have it on shuffle.
Yeah.
But
Sweet.
once you have Go KK Rider, that's all you need.
That's
So,
all you need.
That's the only one
Pretty
you need.
much. Yeah.
And then I actually ordered a second one because once I was given a
somebody gifted you Go KK
someone give
Rider.
Daniel, who hacker alias the Grumpy Turtle, would be
Oh.
co-host of Bill Mudron's Tardy to the Party podcast.
Uh-huh.
Actually, he invited me to his town and gave me a copy of it, and so now that I have it in my catalog, so I can
Mhm.
order extra copies of it now from the not
Hey
the
Phil,
city
Phil.
hall. Yes,
Can you hook a friend up with the Go KK Rider?
I don't know who is
Me.
it?
Me.
Me.
No, me.
Greg? Oh
Me.
yeah, Greg for sure.
Me.
I'll open up the
No.
gates, Greg. Come on over.
No.
Yeah, I can get you guys. I already ordered two other ones. One to hang on my wall of my
Of
yes.
course.
of my house.
wall
'cause
art.
I love the album art for
Which
it.
isn't weird.
The wall.
Displaying album art on your walls is
Oh, yeah,
not weird.
absolutely.
The arts.
And I mean, in
the-
real life, people
Yeah.
do that.
The amount of detail that they have done for the albums in
Yeah.
this is
Oh,
just
for sure.
excellent. I just
Yes.
love all that
They're
stuff.
definitely
It's so
playing
great.
on the resurgence of vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got one for Finn as well because he really likes
Aw.
that song. But yeah,
Yeah.
I can hook you guys
Hook
up.
me up, man. Hook me up.
I'll hook you up. No
I'll send you
worries.
something nice.
Oh yeah.
You like ship in a bottle? How about a skull and
Oh.
crossbones thing for your door? there?
Absolutely not. Nope.
God.
Nope. Don't need a reminder of that.
Aw, How about
Always comes back to
ship's
Sea of Thieves.
ship's deck flooring?
Look at this. Do you have anything that's not friggin' pirate related? You weirdo.
I do
You-
have things
you
that are not
Piratey
related.
creep. Hey, speaking of pirate stuff,
What?
did you see the new Lego Ideas set?
No.
No.
What?
Oh wait, you showed that to me, I think.
Well, now they officially announced it here. I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna find a link. I'm gonna send you a link here.
Okay.
The next Lego Ideas set. Well, not
Oh, so
probably
this
not
is,
the next
this
one.
is actually happening, is it?
This is happening. Lego Pirates of Barracuda Bay
Sweet.
is the name of the set, and it's inspired by one of the old Lego pirate sets.
Cool.
But I guess think of it as like an HD remake, if you
Okay.
to put it in video game terms. So it's it's based on an old set, but using modern building techniques and such.
Yeah.
But you can build it in its standard pirate ship form, for ready to sail the seven seas, or you can build it to look as though it's like kind of crashed on a deserted island.
cool.
So it can be like kind of a piratey base.
Cool.
My
yeah,
oldest
there.
daughter actually came to me today.
I just sent you guys a link. Check
I
that out.
see it. Yes.
Yes.
My oldest daughter actually came to me today because, of course, we're stuck at home for the most part, and
Right.
she's got some money in her account, and she's like, "I want to splurge on a Lego set.
Nice.
just for something to do.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
Did you get one?
we're going. We never got around to doing it today, but we are
Okay.
going to. Yeah. Oh, that
Cool.
does look pretty. Oh, that's really cool. I like how they handled the crashed on the island thing.
It looks great, right?
Looks
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a beautiful looking little set.
And it's
So,
probably gonna be super expensive.
I think it's 2.
So like 250
Ooh.
here.
Ooh.
I think it's two.
That does
Yeah,
look good, though.
260 Canada. So, but there you go.
Getting back to Animal Crossing. Sorry.
Nope.
What do you guys think of the Easter egg hunt?
I want to know because actually I have a question about that. And I don't know why you guys would know because none of us have finished this thing yet.
I finished the game.
Yeah.
I beat it. Beat it the other
I
day.
saw the credits roll.
Final boss.
Yeah.
Who was the final boss? Was it Nook? Was it Tom Nook?
Was
Nookzilla.
it was hold on here, let me think. There's probably something funny I
Okay.
can get out of
Yeah.
this. It
Well,
was
you're thinking about that. So, so I met Zipper,
yeah,
Zipper.
Zipper,
Zipper.
the bunny.
which is a brilliant name. By the way, the writing in this game, I don't care
Yeah.
what anyone says, brilliant.
Oh
It
yeah,
is,
it's
yeah.
a funny little game.
It
I
is
agree.
a dad joke smorgasbord.
Absolutely.
Truly.
Anyway, yeah. So I met Zipper.
The
And
final
I-
boss is a sea bass.
There you go.
There it
Didn't mean a
is.
C plus.
Ah.
So I met Zipper, and I'm trying to remember. I'm sure that it said
It.
Um,
They.
they said to bring all 6 types of eggs to them,
Okay.
but then I
Yeah.
couldn't find them again.
But that's
I
on the
d-
last day that he's
Okay,
back on
see,
it.
And then
They're back on the 12th.
yeah, and then there's a what am I trying to say? There is some kind of prize for all the DIY recipes as well, making them all.
Right.
I think.
Okay.
I wish I had an idea how many there were because I keep finding like 2 or 3 a day.
37.
What?
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I'm never doing that.
Oh man.
According to your friend Mike, 37. He has made all 37
Oh really?
items.
That doesn't surprise me. Mike, by the way, is working from home. I'd like to see his hour count on this thing.
Yeesh.
Anyway, yeah, we've been making a bunch of them, but I like it. I'm kind of sick of finding those eggs.
Yeah.
You and the
Oh,
world.
my
internet.
God,
Yeah.
it's too
Yeah.
much.
This is not the hot take that you might think it is.
Right.
Yeah.
People have made this hot take before. Right
Yeah.
now on the internet.
Although I had a 5 fossil day today.
oh, really?
Good on
5.
you.
5.
Huh.
And that was
I'm-
after my youngest had gone through and harvested the whole island. So I don't know how she missed those. I think she's so sick of the egg thing too. She's just not digging them up anymore.
So you didn't
So-
get any
Excellent.
earth eggs?
I got a bunch of those too, but I ended up
Okay.
finding 5 fossils
Boy,
on the island.
I gotta
today.
In
tell ya.
addition.
Earth egg
Yeah.
sounds like some sort of euphemism in the South at a restaurant where you order it and then it turns out to be like some sort of testicle.
Right.
Yeah.
Lamb fries.
Rocky Mountain Earth egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sheep's balls.
Hey, these are pretty good. What are they? Oh, those are bull testicles.
That's some
Okay.
good eating.
Seems like there should be a Chevy Chase movie. Has that in there?
Really?
Yeah.
What do you get?
Bunny
when you-
Farm? That
That's
was
the
a Chevy
one.
Chase movie. Yeah.
That's the one I'm
What do you
referring
get
to.
when you
Thinking
eat
of Funny
10
Farm?
of something?
You get superpowers.
But of like
You
what?
get strong.
10 of what? What are you talking about?
10 fruit.
So when you eat,
Ten
well,
fruit.
and actually the eggs too.
You can eat.
They
eat
count
fruit.
the eggs too,
Yes.
but it has to be one thing, and it has to be 10 of them in a single play session.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I ate 10 of, I don't know, bull testicles, I think, and nothing seemed to happen. I
You
mean,
can
the
start
counter was
ripping-
full.
Start
if
ripping
you-
off arms.
If you have 10, if you eat fruit,
Strong
you can. You have more power underneath your shovel. You can dig up trees
Oh, without
by the
chopping them down.
roots without chopping anything down.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, like one of the things that I did yesterday, was create a forest with all kinds of fruit trees, basically in one place, just rows of each fruit. And the way that I did that was
Doesn't
by
seem natural.
eating fruit and then digging up 3 of each fruit tree, and then
Oh, and then
placing
you can
them down.
place them.
You can place
Oh,
them, yes.
cool. Okay.
Okay,
So
that's
you can
the way
place
to do
them
it.
without ruining the fruit that's on them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I used the fruit that was native to my island,
Right.
to
Which is-
place oranges, and then
Got 'em.
place the rest of the fruit trees around, and including the cherry blossom trees as well. I have a row of those
No, look at you.
too. So, because if you collect cherry blossoms in your net, you can get some recipes that use that.
I have one.
I have 2. I have like a picnic, outdoor picnic
Picnic.
set.
Yeah, that's the one I've got too.
and then
it's
a
pronounced picnic.
and then a cherry blossom
Boo-boo.
umbrella.
Hey, it's a picnic.
Yeah.
Also love the fact that you can put a wreath on your door.
You
I
can.
did not know that,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I wonder if this will work. And it's like, oh yeah, because I made the
And it
Easter wreath because I was making all of those. Sorry,
Oh yeah.
bunny day,
Bunny
or whatever it's
egg
called.
day.
Wreath egg day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want
Yeah.
to get too religious.
Yep.
Well, wait till next Sunday when Zipper comes back. Because
With a sermon,
if you play on Friday, they kill off Zipper,
that is going to be bloody and
Yeah.
amazing.
and
Bloody amazing.
then you tune in on 3 days later, and you're in for a pleasant surprise.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still enjoying the heck out of Animal
Oh,
Crossing.
Oh
And I
yeah.
expect that I will be for some months.
Yeah.
I have not yet gotten to the point where I can customize like paths or anything. I have not
Right.
gotten the ending of the game, which
I really
you
want that to
mentioned.
happen because
Uh,
we have a couple of tiers that I'm getting sick of using the ladder to get up there. So
Oh, I have that where I can
Oh,
create
we
slopes,
don't have that yet.
but I
You
don't
don't have
have
any-
the ability to like customize.
You can't make slopes yet, Greg?
not yet.
Oh,
So right now where we're at is we have Nook's Cranny opened a
Okay.
while ago. I just placed the construction set for the Able Sisters today.
Okay, you're very close
and-
to getting.
Yeah, and I don't know if anything is keyed off of this, but we had our first 3 new animals moving in.
Right.
But of course, I actually really love that they do this now, where you have to place where they're going to be, which is nice.
Yes,
But then there's like that set of things that you have to craft
Yeah.
for
only
each
the
one.
first time.
Okay, well, either way, I like that because it's sort of guiding you. I feel like this version has a lot more guidance to it than
Mm.
previous ones, where it's like
Yeah,
you have very
it does.
specific objectives.
Well,
early
I
on.
mean, the Nook miles are essentially achievements.
Yeah.
You know, kind of teaching you
Tiered-
like here are
tiered
things you can do to
hmm
so I
have you gone back into? I mean, they don't call it the city hall, but
The
Do you-
resident services.
the resident. Have you
Every
gone
day.
back in there, Greg, and talked to
Hmm.
Nook, and you can't
See, I
ask
only
him about?
completed.
You can
no,
ask
I
him,
have.
what should I do?
I only completed the 3. He hasn't said anything else because those 3 plots that we put down, I
Uh-huh.
took my time doing them.
Okay,
I was doing other things, so I
Okay.
literally finished supplying the last one today.
gotcha. Okay, so
So I feel like we've hit a threshold now, and something's
Yeah.
going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
you will. I mean, very minor spoiler. You will be able to go in probably now or tomorrow, and there'll be an option to say like, ask about the infrastructure or something,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that's when you can start building bridges and ramps.
Yeah, I want to be able to
Yeah.
build more bridges because we've only got
Yeah.
one right now, and
Yeah,
I've also
I
been
just
trying
built
to
my third
spread all the buildings out across the
Yeah.
island. But we've got a
We're-
river that splits into like 3 different spots. So
we just paid off our 3rd bridge today, so
Mm.
that we'll have that tomorrow, and then we have one ramp so far. So we
yeah,
need
that's
to
the
get
big thing that I want to
a
get.
couple more of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's it's pretty cool.
I love it.
It's a fun
My
free
kids
game.
still
Fun.
love it.
And there's a fishing tournament coming up
Yeah,
next week.
Saturday.
I
Yeah,
wish
as well.
I wish I could decorate my home in real life as well as I do in Animal Crossing.
Do you do this as well? Like I go into the resident service building, go into the little ATM there and order as much stuff as I can from there. Because apparently that if you order 100 things to get delivered to you, you get an app on the phone that lets you order directly from there.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
I go into Nook's Cranny every day and pretty much buy like almost whatever they got.
No,
Right.
I only really buy things that I want. Like right now, I'm to the point in my in my house. I'm pretty happy with it now, although I really want to get extra rooms at this point.
Yeah.
But I put down a table today, and I just want to get like a couch or something. But the only couch we have on the island is the cardboard thing, which I don't want to put in there.
I have a leather
So-
couch in my
Ooh.
catalog. I can send it to you if you let me visit your island and drop off some stuff.
But yeah, I don't tend to buy anything that I don't want, but I'll, I still
can buy
really
things as
usually end up
gifts for
ordering
other
something
people.
every day. I usually end up ordering something every day.
Yeah.
Because the Nook's Cranny will get upgraded.
It
Right.
does get
Yeah.
upgraded
Yeah,
later.
the more you buy, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. So
expect
previous versions of Animal Crossing, it was based on the amount that you bought. But
Right.
I've heard like conflicting reports.
Oh, really?
Like Nook's Cranny doesn't get updated in that same way as it
Hmm.
did.
Well, I mean, I
before.
wonder if the catalog shopping and the shopping in the store are two separate tallies.
I imagine that they are.
So that's probably part of it. Because I actually tend to buy before I go buy anything on the online. I go to Nook's Cranny, and I found for the last few days they've actually had one or two things that I did want. So
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I really don't open my doors until I'm like done for the day
Right.
with all of my
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, super fun. I'll be playing it
Yes.
for months, I'm sure.
Yes.
Since that was all I've been playing, Greg, you want to go?
yeah, not
next?
really. I mean, I played through Space Quest 3.
Yeah.
And fantastic game.
Yeah.
That was really, I think, when the Space Quest series really found its personality. Was really taken aback by. It was actually my. So I guess I am talking about it. That was actually my introduction to that series. My friend Dave had Space Quest 3. That was the one he had a
Okay.
copy of Space Quest 3. He didn't have who had legitimate copies. So that's what we would play on his parents' computer. And so it was kind of fun to go back and play through that again. And it's funny because we were playing on an amber monochrome monitor
Oh, jeez.
with no sound card, which
Oh.
was a thing back then. So we were just getting to the beeps and boops, and you didn't really hear the music.
Mm.
And I don't know if anyone listening is old enough to remember, but back when you had to buy sound cards for your computer, and back when they were sort of a new thing, like a sound blaster, you had the PC speaker. And I mean, when I say beeps and boops, that's literally what it was. They were just high-pitched beeps. That was pretty much every sound effect was created with a high-pitched beep.
Yeah.
So that was my experience with the game. So playing it in color was nice, first of all. But I didn't realize that was one of the first, I think that was the first Sierra adventure game that took advantage of Sound Blaster.
Oh, really?
So playing it had some really good music. Like the people who were watching it on Twitch with me were saying the same things. Like the soundtrack in this game is really nice.
Huh.
It's got a few voice samples. So yeah, it was cool to experience it again, and it was just really well done. So now the next game in my adventure series on Monday nights is the Colonel's Bequest, which I've never played before. It was a Sierra game as well. I think it was by the same person that ended up doing, I want to say Phantasmagoria, but I'm not 100% sure. So anyway, that's really the only other thing I was playing. And then it's just been all Animal Crossing all the time.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right,
Wait,
Phil.
wasn't Phantasmagoria? Wasn't that Roberta Williams?
Maybe it's something else I'm thinking of then. I'm going to go look it up real quick.
You're thinking of what was there was some other kind of like FMV-ish adventure game around that time
Yeah, you're right.
as well.
Jacqueline Austin is the person I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
What else did she make? Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know, but now that's bugging me. Tex Murphy? Is that
No, that was another company.
that was a different company?
Yeah, Mean Streets was a
Oh,
Tex Murphy
Gabriel
game.
Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Gabriel Knight. That's the one I was thinking of. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
yeah. That's Tex Murphy was, I forget who did that, but yeah, it was someone else. Yeah, Gabriel Knight is the one I was thinking. Yep.
Cool. Phil.
Yeah, mostly it's just been Animal Crossing for us in our household this week. Although I did pick up Snaky Bus was released on Switch this past week.
For 20 cents.
It's like $10.
Oh, okay.
It's $10. Oh, boy, I've seen a lot of the cheapo sales on
It's
Switch.
happening again.
Yeah,
it is
everyone's
happening again.
throwing their games down to like 3 cents, 10 cents to try and get them towards the top of the charts now that everyone's stuck at home.
Doesn't really work when everybody's doing that same
Yeah, exactly.
technique.
Yeah.
Mm.
But Snaky Bus came out, and I've talked about this briefly on the show before. This is it because it came out on Steam a while ago, and I picked it up there. This is the kind of strange hybrid between Crazy Taxi and the old Nokia cell phone game Snake,
Mm-hmm.
which was on, I was on a million other things, of course, but
Calculators.
that's where I played the bulk of my Snake was on my old Nokia cell phone. But yeah, it's a driving game where you have a map, big city map. You drive a bus around in it. You have to drive to bus stops to pick up passengers, and every time you as the more people you pick up and drop off at the destination bus stop, the more people you collect and drop off, the longer your bus gets. It starts adding
Oh, right. Yep.
like the city buses where they're the multi-car buses that have the kind of
Yep.
The accordion thing
the
in the
accordion in the middle. Yeah. So you just start getting more and more of those until you're, hundreds of cars long. And like Snake, you cannot crash into yourself or, that's game over. So it starts off fine enough, but as your bus gets longer and longer, you start turning corners and circling around blocks to pick up more people or to get to your destination, and you start kind of running into yourself. But luckily you do have a jump button so you can hop over other parts of yourself, which of course just starts meaning that there are chunks of your bus in the sky all over the place. So it's a bizarre little game. It's really weird. It's super goofy, but it's loads of fun. And Finn is really into it. He's having a blast with it just because it's such a silly game. And yeah, I mean, like one of the maps you can play on is just like a kid's bedroom where it's all like there's like Hot Wheel tracks all over the place that you're racing on, that sort of thing. So
that's
yeah,
fun.
so he's having a blast with it. Yeah, and it's like, just came out on Switch. I think it's on sale for like $10. I actually redeemed some gold coins, so I got it for gratis.
Nice.
As they say. But yeah, it's a fun little diversion when we're not digging up eggs or fishing for eggs.
Gotcha.
Shooting eggs out of the sky. Or
Yeah.
hitting rocks and eggs come
Getting
out.
eggs, chopping trees,
Shaking a
and having
tree
eggs.
and there's an egg. Or you know what else? I ordered a game. I ordered a game this week.
You did, huh?
Yeah,
What?
I ordered it off of Amazon.com. It's
yeah,
a
heard of it.
website. It's like kind of like an internet bookstore, but they sell other stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon sells books.
Well, they delayed my Animal Crossing strategy
Well, aren't they
guide.
delaying
Oh.
everything now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's although you know what, it's weird though because I did order a book for Finn last week and it shipped right away.
Huh.
So I don't know, maybe
Interesting.
they're loosening the whole like essential
Could be.
Yeah,
stuff
maybe.
because I mean Finn didn't really need that Gravity Falls book, but they got it to us quick. But I ordered a physical copy of the Switch game Cooking Mama Cookstar.
Wow.
The
That came out on
latest-
Switch.
The late sorta.
Okay.
Have you not seen the
No.
weird like conspiracy going on with the latest Cooking Mama game?
No, I have
God.
not.
Oh, brother, buckle up.
I'm buckled.
So, Cooking Mama Cookstar
Mm-hmm.
is apparently a video game that exists. It was on It came out on Switch like a week or so ago, maybe.
Okay.
It appeared on the eShop, and then
Disappeared.
very shortly after, like, I don't know if it was an hour. It was very, very shortly after, though, was yanked off the eShop.
Really? Okay.
Nobody knows why. The company that created this game allegedly doesn't acknowledge it at all. Like on their website, their Twitter account has been inactive for like a year.
Okay.
No one can find out any information about this game and why it, appeared on the eShop and then disappeared. Physical copies, Amazon, they're not selling it directly. I bought it from a third-party seller
Okay.
on Amazon that I'm going to bring up my Amazon order here. The seller is listed as, and it's not even available anymore.
Oh. Did you actually receive it?
I haven't received it yet. I
Okay.
only purchased
Has it even shipped?
I purchased it yesterday.
Oh.
For $40. It
Yeah.
has not shipped yet. The
Right.
seller was a store called Your Cooking Mama
Okay.
that was only selling this game.
Interesting.
And now if you try and buy the game on Amazon, there's only one copy that some third party is selling for $80.
Okay.
No one else seems to have this game in stock.
Weird.
Nobody knows what's going on. The company that made it, in addition to not acknowledging it, also has nothing to do with any of the old Cooking Mama games.
Right.
Um,
Wasn't it like NIS that brought those out,
I
or
think so.
Atlas?
And so there was a press release that was sent out in February. I'm looking at it right now. Someone posted it on Twitter. February 13th, 2019, about this new Cooking Mama, which at the time was called Cooking Mama Coming Home to Mama for Nintendo Switch. It was originally apparently supposed to be out in fall 2019. Blockchain-powered video game publisher Planet Digital Partners today announced the details around its first portfolio game. It will be the first game to integrate blockchain technology on major consoles.
F that. Like the minute I hear blockchain anywhere, zone the hell out. Don't want to hear it.
Yeah. It's like, it's apparently will use your Switch to mine like Bitcoins for the publisher.
No thanks.
Apparently.
So you're playing it a lot?
Well, I certainly don't intend to open it when I get it, much
God
less
knows what
put it
demons will
anywhere.
escape that.
Put it anywhere near my system, and
or your kid.
So nobody
you just bought it as a
knows
collector piece, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, as a weird novelty, and so people are speculating is this the reason why it got yanked off the store?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because
probably
Nintendo figured it out, and then there were other people on Twitter saying like, I got the game and I've gone through, like I dumped it and went through the code and didn't see anything about cryptocurrency mining software in it at all. So some people are saying, yeah, it's clean, it's fine.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then other people are like, I've got the physical version and I'm playing it and it starts draining my batteries much faster than any other game, and it heats up my system as it's being played. So
weird.
I have no idea, but I was like,
take a chance.
I gotta
have it on order.
So. I gotta get a copy of it if I can, just for the weird novelty of it.
I'm surprised it even made it to physical because you have to have like a minimum batch of cartridges made. Like how many of those?
So I have no idea. It's such a weird.
It's crazy.
curiosity, IGN actually just put up an article
Yeah.
on the 3rd, kind of trying to figure out what's going on with it. So theoretically, I have a copy. We'll see what happens.
All right.
But,
Well, should we do some tweets? We're running long here, but I
we're
feel
running
like
pretty
we
long
should.
here.
We
Yeah.
should do some tweets.
Well, let's do it. I mean, it's our 700th episode.
That is.
Why not?
Why not? Right?
Why not?
Tweet. 700 episode tweets.
Love it. All right. Let's do. We got a lot of tweets this week, so we have kind of a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Let's do this one from hacker alias Benjamin Rivers, who says, "You were given $700 to go game shopping, software or hardware. What do you buy?"
That's
$700.
Pretty great question, really.
I think I would try to finish up my Sega CD collection.
Yeah.
I think $700 would probably do it.
It's a good one. It's a good idea.
That is a good one.
I'd buy 700 Fortnite dollars. I'd just spend
V-Bucks.
Yeah, I'd buy
V-Bucks?
$700 worth of V-Bucks. No, what would I buy?
I'd buy more
Still,
studies.
you'd still have to spend $9,300 on V-Bucks after that 700.
That's true. That is true. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
What would I buy? Man, now that I'm not like really collecting much anymore,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's tough.
before I could have said, some extravagant, stupid, expensive NES game or something, but
Yeah. I never owned like a TurboGrafx. And
Oh, really?
while I am obviously getting the TurboGrafx
A
Mini,
duo.
it would be fun to get a Duo and
Yeah.
really like go through the library of the TurboGrafx, because I know nothing about that system really. I
Oh, yeah.
played none of those games outside of Keith Courage and the original Bonk.
Or oh man, I wonder how much it would cost to put together like a MAME cabinet,
Oh, that'd be a good one too.
just to have like all the old arcade games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or
Good.
barring that, if we're just talking about like legit stuff, I'd throw some of it at maybe like the arcade 1-up Ninja Turtle cabinet, maybe.
You know what
Yeah,
though?
definitely.
I've heard that does not have the theme song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could see that just because
Just play an MP3 of it while you're playing.
I was a
while
little
you're-
bit bummed to hear that.
Yeah. Does the does Turtles in Time still have the Pizza Power song though,
I have no idea.
from the Coming Out of Their Shells
Oh,
tour?
their shells tour.
Yeah.
Maybe a Vectrex just for the novelty. I always kind of
Vectrex.
wanted a Vectrex. Never had one.
I never wanted a Vectrex.
Oh, really?
No.
Really? Why do you hate?
I don't
Why
know.
do you hate old games, man?
I don't hate old games. I went through a
found the
phase in the
Vectrex
early
real boring.
90s where I collected a bunch of 2600 stuff and bought a
Right.
Atari 5200 and a 7800 and got games for it from dollar stores at the time.
Right.
But I never went all the way back to like Vectrex and some of the
Vectrex
earlier
is so
stuff.
unique, though. You know.
It is, yeah, but I just never, I don't know.
Hmm.
Never seemed to want that one.
There you go.
All right, so let's do this one from Hagrilius, the famous Paul.
I know
Paul
him.
Mattingly. I know that guy.
I know him.
He says, "What has been your proudest gaming related accomplishment, and what has been your most shameful gaming related moment or obsession?"
I mean, this is going to sound a little corny, just because it's a question from Paul. But honestly, playing Scoop Fest was
That was fun.
a pretty proud moment. Actually, getting to go do this show live in Vegas in front of a bunch of nerds.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
was a cool moment. That was a cool
Hopefully,
absolutely moment.
hopefully, it still happens this year, and we can
Yeah,
finally
hopefully.
get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
But that's not, I mean, that's a gaming adjacent moment, but
It is.
like, you know,
Yeah.
anything game related.
Actually, you know what? I mean, again, are we just talking like straight like, oh, I beat this game that I've always wanted? Because I mean, like another one that I'm really proud of is uh getting to work on the final Nintendo Power.
That's a great.
Getting to
Yeah.
work on the final issue.
Great
Not
one.
only getting to work on that final issue, but also finding well, I like getting Bill
Yeah, having
like
a hand in some of those
pushing
things.
yeah, pushing to get one final Howard and Nestor strip, or not
Yeah.
Howard and but just Nestor strip, and then you know, getting Bill to do that, and then through Bill getting the sculptor Leslie Leavings, I forget exactly, but who sculpted the final cover, which was that
Yeah.
great homage to the original issue 1. You know,
Fantastic.
that's
Really
I'm
fantastic.
super proud. I mean,
Yeah.
and you know, just not obviously I didn't draw the comic or write it or sculpt that cover, but I was, you know, instrumental in getting it put together. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
I don't know if I could pick. I don't know if I could pick one, but I mean, you know, there's a few different things. Like as far as being good at a game, you know, one of my favorite memories was winning that Gran Turismo contest
yeah.
at E3 in '97, I think it
Mhm.
was. Because that was a trip to California. I got to take my dad down to California for the first time. We got to go to Laguna Seca, which was important to both of us because we're both
Yep.
big race fans. And I remember, you know, getting to do things like going to the Gran Turismo 3 launch was huge for me. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of great moments. I love the fact that when I did get into game development, I got to work on a Robotech game.
Oh yeah,
that was, you know, I was really proud of that.
Yep.
You know, quality of the game, good or bad, however you feel about it, I got to work on a Robotech game. That was huge for me. So, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, there's a ton of moments like that. I think if I was to really sit down and like write them all out, I'd probably have a couple pages worth of moments that I was really proud of. Even things like the launch issue that we did for GameCube and Xbox. I remember at the last minute, Nintendo was there, and at the last minute they told us that Star Wars was reviewable. So a couple of us stayed the entire night and finished Rogue Squadron 2.
Yep.
In one sitting, the first time we ever played it. So that was, you know, and that was just I mean, it's not a great accomplishment, but it was a great moment.
Yeah.
It's one of my fondest memories of working at Ziff Davis, was just sort of because we were in a job where we would do things like that. And I just thought it was great, you know? Yeah. Lots of different moments like that.
Yeah. For me, gonna definitely say the Sonic and Tails April Fool's joke in EGM back in the early 2000s. So if you are listening to the show and you don't know, and you remember that trick, I came up with that idea to be the April Fool's trick. And actually, I think I came up with it pretty early on. Like usually when the April issue came around, like we sort of scrambled to like come up with a funny idea. And there's some years where it didn't, it sort of fell flat. But that particular year, you know, Smash Brothers was out and Sega had gone third party, and it was like, well, what if, you know, people definitely want to see Sonic and Tails in this game. Like, what if we doctored a screenshot or a couple screenshots and put together an idea that, you know, and like we put together something that would be impossible for people to accomplish. Like, it'll definitely get some people.
Something
and it did.
Thought would be impossible.
I thought it would be impossible. Yeah. It ended up, people did it. People actually were able to do it. It was getting 20 KOs in Cruel Melee or something like that using a particular character.
And they would send in VHS tapes.
Well, once people started actually had said they did it, and that nothing unlocked, which was obvious because there was nothing there. We were like, okay, let's turn some of this vitriol that people had, which people were really pissed at this. Let's turn this into a contest where if like send us your record, like how many KOs can you get in Cruel Melee, and we'll send you something. I forget what it was. It was a prize. I think it was like the GameCube version of Sonic
Signed
Adventure
picture
2.
of CJ going like that.
I don't think so. But and then we got videotapes of people doing it, and it was crazy to watch because I didn't think it was going to be possible. Like I came up with something that was like just out of reach that I thought people would like be able to come very close but not actually do.
Which was great because it was definitely a throwback to the old Simon Belmont in Turtles 2.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole, like, you have to do the Konami code and you had to do it in this really tiny window.
Yeah.
It was next to you would get so close. I remember doing that so many times when I was a kid. It's like,
yeah,
I know I got it right. I know I got it. Well, it was pretty close. So maybe I just didn't do it right. And
yeah, it was exactly like that. Well, I mean, I was a reader at that time and I loved that style of April Fool's joke. And you know, in the screenshot, I thought it was important that there at least be hints that this thing was fake, and the unlock date was like April 1st, and it was pretty clear, like if you had been following EGM, that it was a joke. But the great thing was, I think Nintendo Power had to print something in their issue like that it was false, and they had something like to tell, like game counselors had like a message they told people if it was
oh man,
they got a call regarding it, which is like, just I'm so proud that something that I masterminded. And it wasn't me alone. Like we had Mike Reisel was the art director on EGM who helped me doctor the screens, and I took like Sonic and Tails images from Sonic Adventure, and we put them into the screenshot and tried to make it look real. And when you do something like that, I think it's very easy for you to overlook the tells that it's fake. So what we did is we printed it out and had people all around the office try to point out things that would tip people off that this was a ruse or that this was fake. And we like improved those things so that it was more and more believable. And that was just a great time. So I would say that's big up there. Also, having a hand as producer in Robot Unicorn Attack, you know, so many internet memes and stuff around that game and that song, you know, Erasures, always, it was sort of a hit in the 90s. And then it came back in like full force once Robot Unicorn Attack launched, like, and became one of their biggest songs. So yeah, that's a pretty big gaming accomplishment. And then also I'm in Twin Galaxies as a world record holder on Hydro Thunder.
That's right. I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah. So if I had to pick three, those are my top three gaming accomplishments. What about shame stuff?
700 episodes of this.
Gaming related shameful moments. Jeez, yeah. 700 episodes of this for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man. I don't know.
I don't have any shame.
Really?
No shame.
No shame in the game.
That's clear.
No shame. It was a
haircut.
There was an EGM review crew picture of me holding a wrestling belt, and I'm in my WrestleMania X8 jersey that I
forgot you were an intense wrestling fan for like a month.
Month. About a month, yeah.
Who wants to go to WrestleMania 18? Send CJ.
Exactly. That was one of the greatest video game junkets that I've ever been on, actually, because I got to go to a WrestleMania show, and even though I was not into wrestling at the time, just being at that show, and THQ had like a box, like a skybox, and it was just the energy in Toronto at that particular show was just great.
We ended up going to a wrestling show in Chicago.
We did, yeah. After that point, yeah.
I do remember that. Speaking of that, I can think of one that I think I look back on and kind of cringe. Was when you and I, CJ, went to the UFC event in, where was it?
Iowa.
So we drove there to the UFC event, but we're such big nerds that we had to find a Best Buy along the way because Space Channel 5 was coming out that day. and we needed to buy our copies of Space Channel 5. For some reason, we weren't going to get to play it until we got back to Chicago.
That's right.
It's like, what are we doing? What is?
Yeah, we stopped at a Best Buy. And this was before cell phone, so we had to have MapQuested it or like,
oh, absolutely,
looked for a Best Buy along the road, and like figured out where that was, and then they did in fact have Space Channel 5. I don't know if we went to multiple stores, but I
don't think we did.
They did have it, so
I
bought it. So
I did a similar thing on a press junket. This was back when Ziff was still in Illinois, and I had been flown out. I think it was the first time I was ever in California. I had been flown out to the Bay Area to visit LucasArts,
Nice.
which at the time they were up in Marin. They were up in San Rafael. Actually, like very, very close to where CJ and I would end up living when we moved out to California. I mean, CJ and I could probably it was maybe like a 15-minute walk from our place to the LucasArts offices.
Yeah.
But when I was out there for this press junket for a couple of days, Klonoa 2 had come out on PS2, and I had to go get Klonoa 2, so I ended up walking over from my hotel where I was staying to the mall in San Rafael, and I picked it up at a GameStop, I guess.
Yeah,
not being able to play it until you flew back to Chicago.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it sat in my hotel room for a few days until I had to pack it up and fly it back home with me, so I could actually play it. But
yeah,
there was that time that I decided an interview for the PlayStation 2 versions of The Sims was more important than going to the hospital to have my appendicitis operation.
It was a good call. I mean, appendix; those aren't even necessary organs
yet.
Yeah, those aren't necessary organs. Sims 2?
That was a big deal.
Very
Sims 2
important.
coming to the PlayStation 2.
That was a big deal.
Come
That was
on.
a cover story, baby.
Is that the one? The Black Eyed Peas do any music for that one?
I don't know.
I think they did for one of those games.
Very possible.
Oh, you know what my big shame is?
What?
Legit shame. When I had my brief flirtation with video game piracy back in the 16-bit era, which I've talked about. I talked about this on the show before. Back during this. Oh yeah, I definitely have. During the.
Oh yeah, you have. Yeah.
Yeah, during the 16-bit days, a
cartridge copier.
A friend's older brother had a friend who had a hookup to get cartridge copiers from Hong Kong or something.
It's really a victimless crime.
By the way, I played Animal Crossing with somebody who might be involved in this story.
Wait, what? Really?
You talking about Jim R?
That's too obvious, CJ.
How about Jay Reardon?
No.
Hey, totally out of it
because he visited my Animal Crossing town.
It was absolutely not him. No.
All right.
No. I don't know if you know this guy. You might know this guy, but it was not Jim. No, it was absolutely not Jim though. No, but I got a hold of a multi-game hunter was my cartridge copier of choice. And it could copy SNES and Genesis games to floppy disk, 3.5 floppies.
Copy them floppies.
And I
copied them floppies.
I copied them floppies for darn sure. And I sold most of my games after I copied them.
I thought you were about to say you sold the copies.
No,
you're a bad person.
No. I sold. Who am I selling the copies to?
I don't know.
They're 3.5. It's not like I could, stand out on the street corner. Hey, anyone else have a multi-game hunter?
I don't know what kind of shady people you were involved in back in the 90s.
But yes, I ended up selling my SNES and Genesis games, a good chunk of them to FuncoLand.
Yeah.
To offset the cost of the MGH device.
Yep.
And you know, for a couple months, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then I realized, to
You were
my
the
shame,
reason.
To
Yeah.
your shame. Yeah.
to my shame, that I was like, man, I am just hoarding discs of these games and I'm never actually playing them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, this is doing me nothing. And then I started like, oh man, I wish I had
Yeah.
my cartridge. I wish I had the real versions, because it's like 3.5 floppies ain't gonna last forever. And I mean, like a SNES cartridge may not last forever, but it's gonna last a
Well,
hell
I
of a
mean,
lot
yeah,
longer.
got lots that have lasted 30 years.
Yeah,
Right.
than a 3.5 floppy. So I eventually just started rebuying all my old games again. So, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's my big shame.
You know, I forgot to mention, we both worked at Babbage's
Mm-hmm.
back in Illinois
Yes,
in the same district,
we did.
but we did not know each other at that time.
No, I worked at the Joliet store, 138. You worked
Yep.
at the Fox Valley store, number 16,
That's right.
which the store where I would eventually become assistant manager.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, well, yeah, because yeah, I mean, this was obviously after you were no longer
I
working
was
there,
gone. Right.
but yeah, because they
CJ's up for that job and he didn't get it, so he left.
yeah, I was like, yeah, this guy
Of course.
This guy seems shady. Too tall.
That's right.
Can't have him in my store.
Too tall,
Making me look
Johnston.
short. But yeah, they had in the Fox Valley store, they had moved the store to a new location. They had because the store was huge. They were opening up a giant Babbage's,
Mm-hmm.
and it was going to be one of the flagship stores in the company.
True.
And my manager at the time down in Joliet, they wanted him to go be the manager of that store, and they said, hey, would you like a promotion and be the assistant manager? And I said, absolutely, because Jeff was the manager's name, and I really liked Jeff, and I liked working with him.
Yeah.
So I moved up there, and yeah, I didn't move up. I stayed living at my parents' house because I was working at Babbage's.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would just drive up to the old Fox Valley.
There you
work
go.
up there. So there you go.
Should we do
Fantastic.
one more tweet?
One more?
One more?
Sure.
Maybe.
Whatever. Make it a good one.
Let's do this one then from Hacker Alias.
CJ wasn't ready.
Has not
No, I
vetted these
wasn't.
beforehand.
I have not. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Earthbound G-Man, who says, what's one favorite moment from the history of the show? Any specific future goals for the podcast?
Man.
Scoop Fest.
I mean, yeah, Scoop
one.
Fest, like we were
Scoop Fest
talking
was
about.
great.
The couple, yeah, well, the 2 Scoop Fests
Two
that we've
yeah.
done have been great.
Loved having Al Lowe on.
That's what I was going to
Early in the show.
say. Yeah,
Back
That was a
way
hero.
early in the run, really.
that's one of my go-to favorite moments. Was getting to talk to Al Lowe for.
Which has been a
Like a-
long time.
I mean, yeah, it's been forever, but man,
Back
it
when we
was
had ambition.
yeah. But he was. I mean, he was so nice to come on. I mean, and again, I mean, that was like what episode, like 14 or something.
Yeah.
It was an early one.
Yep.
And to come on and spend time, and he ended up. I mean, we expected him to talk for like maybe half an hour or something, and he went
Stuck around.
like an hour and a half, and yeah, it was just super nice.
Well, and then we did Ted Woolsey interview.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
That was big, actually.
I got to say it's a more recent one, but episode 666 still cracks me up. I will.
That was great fun.
Yeah.
I will occasionally go back and listen to chunks of episode 666 and still have a good laugh at that.
Yeah.
Further to that, Dormerbot, the first Dormerbot.
Oh
episode
yeah,
was-
yeah,
First
for sure.
Dormerbot episode.
that
For
was
sure.
I was pretty proud of that one,
Yeah, that was good.
especially where it was last
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah,
Yeah. Those are some good ones. I still really enjoyed. Was it episode 4 where we did the launches for the PS3 and the Wii?
You went out and got Man on the
Oh,
Street.
yeah,
interviews.
that's
Yeah,
right.
where I went out with my tape recorder and I interviewed people who were standing in line.
Again, back when we had ambition.
Yeah.
It's funny to listen to that show because just so many people who are like, I'm just here to eBay this. And it's just like
There were
you shake
so
your
many
head like,
people who,
oh
yeah.
my God. Like
Yeah.
so much of like video game console launches in the mid 2000s, that was the deal. Like people
Yeah.
were in line to flip it.
Yeah.
That's it. And hopefully we don't have that going forward, but who knows?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as ambitions for the show, I honestly just keep doing a show that I'm pretty proud of personally. No really lofty ambitions for it though.
No lofty ambitions. What I don't want to get to the point where people are harassing us on Twitter about the things we say. Like I'm happy with how small the show is, that the people who I interact with on Twitter and on Discord, like I feel like the community is great. And I would never want the show to be like so big where you get like, I don't know, people who just want to argue or anything like that. Like I feel like the community we have is a good size and the people who listen are great, and I don't want I'm fine with it being as is.
Yeah.
No bigger.
And that's the reason we're not bigger, is because we don't want it to be bigger.
We don't
Yeah.
want it to be
That's
bigger.
absolutely it. Yeah.
I mean, we're not doing ad reads because that, well, the first time that was even proposed to us at a certain point years ago, I didn't want to do the enter into a contract to do ad reads, because then that means we couldn't stop at any point we wanted to. We'd have a contract with ad reads that would keep us going, or say you have, like, basically you have to do an episode each week because
Right.
you have to do this ad. And I never wanted that to be the reason why we did it or continue to do it. Like I never want to get to the point where somebody listening feels that we don't like video games anymore or that we're jaded, even though we might be.
We just don't want
In
people to
some
find
respects.
out.
We don't want people to find out
Right.
that we are. I want this to stay positive and
And-
not feel like a job.
And
right?
that said, when you've been recording podcasts as long as we have,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of sitting, and when you're sitting recording podcasts for years and years, 700 episodes, you really want to be comfortable. And when I think comfort, I think MeUndies. MeUndies is
Yeah. How do you
I
feel
don't
about
know if you knew this or
HelloFresh?
not, but Phil's the ass model in those Facebook ads for MeUndies.
mhm.
I actually shaved today with my Harry's razor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I may be
Yeah.
the ass model, but it's not my ass you're looking at. So
Think about that.
have fun with that one.
Yeah, no, I like that I like that we don't do any of that stuff either. I mean, it's nice that, I don't know, I think we're definitely jaded, but I think it's more that we've fallen into our roles as middle-aged ads, and I know that a lot of people who listen enjoy that, and
Yes.
I'm with you, CJ. I'm glad that we found an audience that likes that sort of thing, because again, going back to the original episodes, I know we all felt very obligated to be like One Up, or like
Playing
any
everything.
other outlet at the time. We were playing everything. We have opinion on everything. We talk about every news story, and it's interesting actually going back and listening to that, because I remember at the time that was very much who I was too. I think
Mhm.
we all were, because we were in that mode where it's like, even if it was a game that I wasn't interested in, I would at least know a little bit about it, and I would know who made it, and I would know the names and the engine, and all that sort of thing. And that's just definitely not who I am anymore.
Right.
So it's nice to be able to keep doing this and sort of be, so we'll keep going for another 20 years, and it'll be the granddad Gamecast. And
I hope not.
You
We say
hope
this
you're
like
not
every
grandfather
100
in 20
episodes.
years,
Like
or you
it
hope
feels
you're-
like we do this every 100 episodes where it feels like we've been going on too long, or like, oh my god, like how did we do 700 episodes of
weird
something?
enough, I still look forward to doing this every Sunday night.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yes, I do as well.
Yes, what you said.
Oh man.
But yeah, not many podcasts get to 700 episodes. And, you know, even though I listen to a lot of podcasts, I generally like go in and out of listening to some. Like I'll drop a few and add some on to my playlist and then go back to some, depending on what's happening. And hopefully people have done that too and not just listened to us for 14 years straight. And that's all the only podcast they've ever listened to. But if that's you, then thank you very much. But I mean, what I like in podcasts that I think we do is we keep it conversational and fun. And, you know, that's what I like when I listen to podcasts, and I think we do exactly that. And I'm, you know, proud of these 700 episodes that we've done. And, you know, how many years was I at EGM? I didn't do 700 issues of EGM. So technically this is the longest job I've ever had. Right.
Yeah.
And I feel good about it.
Yeah,
so
that's a good
thank
point.
you, Greg. Thank you, Phil, for showing up
And all past co-hosts.
each Sunday and not being too mean to each other. We, you know, we'll
I'm always nice to Greg.
I know.
I like Greg.
You like
Hey,
Greg.
people always point out when we do get to go hang out with each other, and it's usually for PAX or Scoop Fest.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it just looks like one big long triple date. All the
Mm,
pictures
some
that we
kind of-
post,
some
it's
kind
like,
of human centipede, really.
yeah,
Agreed.
that's exactly what I was getting at.
Yeah.
But it's
I
true.
call middle.
I think that, you know, yeah, God. Who has more fun than people, right?
Agreed.
Exactly.
Uh,
I think that's where we should call it.
It's definitely been a show.
Yeah. Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you again for listening for maybe the 700th time, maybe the first time, but thank you. If you have any questions for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to
There it
direct
is.
that
700 episodes, and you still
to
can't get
at
it right.
P1 Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find blog entries about Sega CD from Mr. Greg Seward.
Yeah, go check out the most recent ones. They're not very old yet.
Indeed. You'll find Generation 16 episodes as they happen.
And the new one is going really well. Probably about it's like an hour long. I probably got about the first
Man.
8 to 10 minutes roughed in.
Have you
Takes
said
a
what?
lot longer than you expect.
Have you said what game it's for?
No, I kind of don't want to.
Well,
I'd
good.
rather it be a bit of a surprise.
All right.
Although one thing that I was mentioning in the weekly commute videos that I do that Phil worries
Terrible
about my
idea.
safety
Terrible idea.
is that this episode is actually going to require a fair amount of video capture, not just of a game, but of some hardware.
Oh.
And given our current situation, it might end up getting delayed because of that.
Oh my
Because,
goodness.
I can't get
Indefinitely?
indefinitely.
Definitely.
So I hope that's not the case. It's big enough that I'm hoping that by the time I get to the point that I need that stuff, we're through this. But
Right.
yeah, it's still
Man.
coming along. I'm really excited about it. And now that it's starting to come together, I'm getting even more excited about it. But there might be a bit of a delay.
Okay.
All right. And you will also find show notes and links to all the things that we talked about on this week's show, and a link to our Discord server, which is a lot like internet relay chat. Really. When you get down to it, do you ever use IRC?
Just to put it into perspective.
Put it in perspective there. You can click that link for our Discord server and talk about video games and anything else that you've been watching or buying or coronavirus stuff. You chat about everything on our Discord server. That's what we do with us and our other listeners.
Well, hey there, cool cats and kittens. If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by loading up your favorite podcast listening app. You can also find us on Stitcher Radio. We're on Spotify. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch us live most weeks on the youtubes.com/P1 podcast. Follow our Twitter account, friends, to find out when we'll be doing our next live show. Hints. It's typically at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on Sundays.
That's correct. Yeah.
Which is before now, from the
Yeah.
perspective of now when we are recording. Just to clear that up. And if you've liked what you've heard, and how could you, head over to patreon.com/P1 podcast. You can throw a few shekels our way. CJ has to buy a Floby.
Oh, what now?
Suck
Floby.
cut.
Oh yeah.
Floby. That's the
I do.
that's the actual thing.
I do
that,
need to-
thing I'm
yeah.
referencing.
Yeah.
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 Need something.
Yeah.
Need to do something here.
So poor dude's trapped
Pretty soon I'm
inside.
gonna be able to headbang and actually have some hair move.
How the
Good.
tables have turned.
Yep. You know what? You could shave that off and sell the excess to us.
Gross.
Maybe I will. Watch out for a FedEx envelope coming your way.
just a big envelope full of loose hair.
So gross.
Hey, you mentioned it.
50% chance it came from CJ's
There's no
skull.
there's no return address.
You
on
can
this.
trim everything with a beard trimmer.
I don't know
What?
who sent this.
CJ's used to shaving that back.
There's something to befuddle the media.
CJ doesn't
Just-
have curly hair. What?
Just start sending loose hair to
Gross.
random addresses. Just get a phone book. Just flip to a random
Remember when all
page.
Phil talked about was poop jokes?
I
Throw
do.
your finger down and just send,
So
send
gross.
a bunch. Just, doesn't have to be a lot. Just a regular envelope with just a
No.
handful in there.
Yeah.
You'll make the news, I bet.
Yeah, I bet you will.
Hey, if you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com where you'll find the Patreon link to help support Greg Stewart's Outstanding, and it is outstanding web series about North America's favorite runner-up of the Sega Genesis.
Thanks, Phil. And if you're a $5 plus
Yes.
patron, you get weekly video logs that Phil doesn't approve of.
I don't, because he records them while he's driving, which is horribly dangerous. Tell you what, though, if you're a $5 Patreon subscriber of the Player One podcast, you do gain access to a special weekly post show where we play games, we crack wise, we have fun. We got something special cooked up this week, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Couple things, really.
Oh man, a couple?
Yeah.
Get ready, friends. My goodness, y'all in for a
Mhm.
treat.
That's right.
If you're a $5 supporter, if you're not,
True.
take a hike. I'm kidding. We love you. We love all of you. Thank you, of course, for sticking around with us for these 700 episodes. Goodness gracious. What
Yeah,
have we
episodes.
all been doing with our lives?
I don't know.
CJ,
Yeah.
thank you so much
Thank you, Phil.
for all of this nonsense. Gregory,
Yo.
thank you as well.
Thank you, Phil, for being the best guest host we've ever had.
Well, darn tootin'. Well, no, that's not true. Mike's better than me.
That's true.
Everyone,
Best
everyone.
guest host still on the
everyone.
show.
That I'll give you. That I'll give you. But come on, I would trade me for Mike in a New York
I've
minute.
tried multiple times.
Understandably,
That was the first offer we made. It was
Understandably.
like, is it Phil? Do you want us to get rid of Phil?
I think that's the same. That's the same message I sent him. Is it
Is it
me?
me?
Because
You wanna
I
get rid
can,
of
I
Get
can
outta
take care of that.
Yeah.
But and of course, thank you to all our wonderful, wonderful listeners. Seriously, sticking
Yes.
around.
Thank you.
We hope we brought a smile to your face during this this pandemic.
Yes.
And we'll see y'all next week for big old 701.
The real milestone.
Actually, oh, you know what we should do is just next week is going to be 699-2,
Oh.
and we start counting down. Start counting down. We can
I like
finally end it. We can finally end the show once we get back down to
Once we get
1-2.
back down to 1.
1-2.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
No.
So
Right.
we'll hash that out, folks. We'll see what we decide on next week. Please join us then. A good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.